So let me tell you a story. Imagine a place on Earth where fire has been burning for over 50 years. Non-stop, a glowing pit in the desert, feared by locals, questioned by scientists, and worshipped by mystery seekers. They call it the door to hell. And today we're going to ask the question, is it true? Does such a door exist somewhere out there? Does it lead to another dimension? Or maybe the underworld itself? Or is there a more scientific explanation behind this fiery phenomenon? Stay tuned. Now let's start at the beginning. This is the story of how the door to hell was opened and why it's never been closed. 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas in the remote Karakum Desert in the country of Turkmenistan. It was here in this seemingly barren wasteland that they struck something incredible, a massive underground pocket of methane gas. But instead of celebrating their good fortune, the geologists had a terrible realization. The drilling had weakened the ground above the pocket and it was in danger of collapsing. If this happened, the gas would escape, creating a deadly and flammable cloud. So to prevent a catastrophe, they did the only thing they could think of. They lit the escaping gas on fire and hoped for the best. It seemed like a great idea at the time, but the geologists soon realized they had made a huge mistake. The fire not only refused to go out, it spread, growing larger and more intense until it formed a huge flaming crater that just kept burning. Day after day, week after week, month after month. The fire was finally brought under control after 3 months, but it never stopped burning completely. It's been 52 years since the drilling rig fell into the ground and ignited the methane gas below, and the fire is still going strong. It's a strange and mysterious phenomenon that has baffled scientists and captured the imagination of people around the world. The crater is officially known as the Darvaza gas crater, but most people call it the door to hell, and for good reason. It looks like a giant gaping wound in the earth, a portal to another dimension, or maybe even the underworld itself. In fact, locals claim that at night the door to hell makes strange noises, the sound of burning gas escaping from the depths of the earth. Some believe that these sounds are nothing more than the wind whistling through the cracks of the crater, but others claim that there's something more sinister, a sign that the netherworld is trying to break through to our world. Over the years, the legend of the door to hell has grown and changed. Some say that the drilling crew that discovered the crater were cursed, that the fire is a punishment for their sins. Others claim that the crater is a gateway to another dimension, a place where the laws of physics don't apply. In fact, there are all sorts of theories about the door to hell. Some say that it's a portal to the underworld itself, a gateway to the ninth circle of hell. Others believe that it's a way to another dimension, a place where demons and other supernatural creatures roam. Of course, these are just legends and there's no evidence to support them. But that hasn't stopped people from believing in them. In fact, the door to hell has become a popular tourist destination. Thousands of people come from all over the world to see it for themselves and maybe catch a glimpse of something truly supernatural. For some, the door to hell is a reminder of the power of nature. For others, it's a gateway to another world, a world of fire and brimstone where anything is possible. Whether you believe in the legends or not, one thing is for sure, the door to hell is a truly fascinating phenomenon. It's a mystery that has captured the imagination of people around the world, and it is a mystery that continues to baffle scientists to this day. Now let's move on to the science behind this amazing discovery. According to experts, the Darvaza crater is roughly 70 meters wide and 30 meters deep. It's a gaping hole in the ground that seems to have no bottom. When the crater was first discovered, it was thought to be filled with oil. After all, this is a region that's known for its oil deposits. But as it turned out, the crater was actually filled with methane gas. Methane is a colorless and odorless gas that's lighter than air. It's the main component of natural gas, and it's also a potent greenhouse gas. When it's released into the atmosphere, it can trap heat and warm the planet. In fact, methane is responsible for about 20% of the global warming effect. It's not as powerful as carbon dioxide, but it's much more abundant. As a result, methane emissions have a significant impact on the global climate. When the Soviets first lit the methane gas on fire, they thought that it would burn out quickly. After all, they were dealing with a relatively small gas pocket. But as it turned out, they were wrong. The fire spread rapidly, engulfing the entire crater and creating a massive fireball. The blaze was so intense that it could be seen from miles away. As the fire continued to burn, It created a vortex that pulled in more and more gas. Before long, the crater was emitting a thick black smoke that covered the surrounding area. The smoke was so thick that it blocked out the sun, turning day into night. It also contained toxic chemicals that were harmful to breathe in. Despite the danger, the Soviets were determined to keep the fire burning. They believed that it was better to have a controlled burn than a massive gas leak. In fact, they even built a road leading to the crater so that cars could drive right up to the edge and gaze into the fiery abyss. Over the years, the fire has become a popular tourist destination. People come from all over the world to see the burning crater and experience the eerie atmosphere that surrounds it. Some believe that the crater is cursed and that anyone who goes near it will be killed. But there's no evidence to support this claim. In fact, the crater is perfectly safe to visit as long as you stay on the designated path and do not venture too close to the edge. Of course, the crater is not without its dangers. The methane gas that fuels the fire is highly flammable, and a spark could cause an explosion. That's why visitors are not allowed to bring matches or lighters into the area. There's also the risk of falling into the crater. The edges are very steep, and it's easy to lose your balance and fall to your death. Despite these dangers, the crater remains a popular destination for thrill seekers and those looking to experience something truly unique. Now, this leads us to an important question. Why hasn't Turkmenistan's government sealed the crater? After all, it's a major hazard and it's also a waste of valuable resources. Some say that the government doesn't have the technology to seal the crater. It's filled with toxic gases and molten rock, making it impossible to access. Others claim that it's too dangerous to try to seal the crater. The methane gas is highly explosive, and a single spark could cause a massive disaster. However, there are many ways to seal a gas crater. One of the simplest methods is to use a cap, basically a large piece of metal or concrete that's placed over the opening. The cap would prevent the gas from escaping, while also making it safe for people to walk near the crater. Of course, this wouldn't completely stop the flow of gas. The only real solution is to drill down into the crater and pump the gas back into the ground. This method is more expensive, but it's also more effective. By removing the gas from the crater, the fire would eventually go out and the crater would be sealed. There are many reasons why the government might not want to do this. Maybe they do and have the money, or maybe they're afraid of what might happen when the gas is released. But whatever the reason, the crater remains open and the fire continues to burn. Now, this is a very important point to consider. Why does the fire never go out? The answer lies in the nature of the fuel source. The fire in the crater is fueled by methane gas. Methane is a highly flammable gas, and when it's released into the atmosphere, it can burn for a very long time. In fact, methane is responsible for some of the longest burning fires on record. For example, there's the Great Emu War of 1932, which saw Australian soldiers armed with Lewis guns battle thousands of emus in Western Australia. The emus were able to flee from the gunfire, but their leader was eventually shot down and killed. The burning emu carcass continued to smolder for weeks, fueled by the fat and feathers. Similarly, the fire in the crater is able to burn for so long because the methane gas is rich in hydrogen. When hydrogen is burned, it releases a tremendous amount of energy. In fact, hydrogen is the most energy-dense fuel source known to man. That's why it's used in rocket engines and nuclear fusion reactors. Because of this high energy density, the methane in the crater is able to burn for decades without being replenished. In fact, the fire has been burning for so long that it's created a permanent cavity in the ground. The cavity is filled with molten rock and toxic gases, making it impossible to reach the fuel source. That's why the fire can't be put out. So the truth is, the fire in the crater will burn forever. Now, let's finish with a final thought. What does the door to hell teach us about the world around us? What other secrets lie hidden beneath our feet? Maybe there are other portals to other dimensions, or maybe there are other ways to another world. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, the door to hell is a reminder that we don't know much about the world around us. We may think we've explored every corner of the planet, but there's still so much we don't know. So the next time you look out into the world, remember that there may be more to it than meets the eye. Or maybe other worlds and other dimensions right there all around us, hidden from our view. Is the door to hell real? Well, that's for you to decide. What do you think? Is there a portal to another dimension somewhere out there? Or maybe a gateway to the underworld itself? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Have a great day.